Welcome to another episode of the Quip and Convo segment. Yes, I'm having a return guest, Rob. You'll see his bio again right after this. Welcome back to the Quip and Convo segment of the Quip Corner, Rob.
Hey, Ada, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent.
Yes. So I enjoyed our last conversation, and like we said, we need to do it again. So we're doing it again.
We follow up and deliver, don't we?
KPIs met.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so I believe, I want to be sure. Let's see, what was the number? Was it 35?
35.
Oh, I think I'm looking at the wrong book.
That was in the other book. That's right, 35.
Yes. Yeah, so this, it's interesting. The interesting thing about this book is I wrote it for tweens, teens, and 20s. And now and again, I find things, like one of my sons says, he says, yeah, but it applies to adults as well. So I guess.
Very true. Very true.
So Quip 35 says, your attitude to life determines life's response to you.
Yes, it does. You get back what you put out. So I firmly believe that that your attitude and your mindset puts out an energy, a vibration, something out there that resonates and magnifies what you have and what you desire, and things come to you. There's no question about that, both positively or negatively, by the way. So, so I think that's a really interesting kind of. It's why I really like the quote. And I think your son's right that it does actually affect all of us. I think your attitude to life is a really interesting one. Now, we can't all be positive and upbeat and motivated all the time. That's just not humanly possible to do that.
Yeah.
Or at least I can't do it. So I think if you're, I think it's a great quote. I think it was by Dr. Schindler, who once said that the definition of happiness is feeling good a good deal of the time. And I think it's pretty good. It's like I'm feeling good a good deal of the time. So 80% of what I do, I'm in pretty good shape. We always have our ups and downs.
Yes.
So I think if you got your attitude right, and I approach this from a not only a once-off attitude, but I think the concept of mindset maintenance, something Les Brown talks a lot about, mindset maintenance is really important.
Okay.
So you don't get the spurt, the kind of high peak where I'm fired up. I'm going to talk to Ada today. It's so good, It's like, this is going to be the best thing ever. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh my God, like I want to talk to Ada every minute because I can't talk to her every day. So now my life's bad. Mindset maintenance goes from peaks and troughs in your life to ripples across the water. Up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit, down a little bit. And so you'll find the very best high-performing teams, be they business or sport, are very good at ripples, not huge waves. And it's that attitude they have, and therefore they put good things out, good things come back, but they don't put the huge negativity out because you attract that as well. And so I think that's kind of my read on it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm still trying to soak in the mindset maintenance because I've never heard that phrase before.
Right.
Yeah. And the idea that's coming to mind is like even just for your vehicle.
Yes, correct. So you've got to maintain yourself. And this is why rest is so important. Sleep is so important. And so are you giving enough time to have mindset maintenance? And here's the thing, people get confused about rest, right? Let me tell you what rest isn't. Rest is not doing mindfulness training. Rest is not watching Netflix aimlessly at night. rest is not scrolling through social media before you go to bed, right? Rest is not looking at Facebook Marketplace for something that's a bargain, right? It appears like we are definitely not doing what our job is. And these activities are all okay. I'm not saying don't do them.
Yeah.
Just don't confuse them, because you're not giving your beautiful brain a rest. It's still working in overdrive. It's watching Netflix. It's looking for that bargain. And yes, you're doing something different, and that's good. And that connects more neurology in terms of your brains and connections, but it's not resting it.
Yeah.
Meditation is resting it. Walking along the beach, looking out at the sea is resting it.
Yeah.
Having a massage is resting it.
Yeah.
Truly resting.
Yeah.
So it's relaxed. That's why sleep is so powerful, because it forces us to actually, and our beautiful brain works so hard for us, and we don't try and rest it. And I've been guilty of that for way too long.
Yeah.
So I think that's the mindset maintenance part of it.
Nice. And, just reflecting back, to your question about, what are my thoughts about it? I truly agree. I know that there was a quote that I read by Joyce Meyer years ago that says, a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You're not going anywhere until you change it.
Yes.
And so for me, it's not whether good or bad things happen to you. It's how do I respond to them? I do my best. It's difficult, but there are times when I'm like, what's the silver lining? This is bad, but it could have been worse,
Right.
And so that's, takes me up a notch to reassess and just say, how can this be better? Yes, bad, but, how can we move from this point versus wallowing and dwelling in it and causing that situation to sap me of strength?
That's right. You're letting it win. And that's the beautiful thing about when you say, when the flat tire is a good example, what you're looking for there is sustainable change.
Yes.
So it's a flat tire, nothing will change unless your attitude, we can change it, but then you get another flat tire again down the road. Maintenance says, I'm going to change it so it's sustainable. I buy a better set of tires because I'm driving in a tough neighborhood, or it's a bit different than what I was expecting. My current tires are too soft or too worn out, so I need to change all my tires so I can go the distance. That's the bit we want to try and do. Otherwise, we end up back very quickly changing our tire again and changing our tire again. That gets expensive, changing tires. Unless you're racing a Formula One car where you got to do that. But you notice even on a racing car, if we would take that analogy, they use, if it's raining, they use different tires.
Yeah.
Right. If it's hotter, they'll use a different tire. And in fact, there's a really interesting, you've led me to an interesting concept on this tire one, Anna, is that, I don't know if you know this, but on a lot of the racing, high-end racing motorcycles, the tire is actually two halves. So one half of the tire is built for the right-hand corners and the other is built for the left-hand corners.
Oh, wow.
Literally, I could show you a photograph of a tire that is lines on one side and slick on the other, because the track they're racing at has more right-hand turns in it.
Ooh.
So they're building the tire for the race they're about to do. And there's a lot of really interesting concepts for our brain in that one about how we approach things. Are we approaching everything the same way? Because that's not fair.
Ooh.
Right? So should we adjust our thinking for certain things? If it's going to be really tough, well, like you said, let's acknowledge this is really tough. Like going through COVID, it's not easy.
Yep.
Working hybrid on your own, it's not easy. Don't pretend it is.
Yep.
Yeah, you can have perspective, but let's also have reality. This is tough. Do we know what's going forward? I love Tom Peters, who said any leader who knows where they're going over the next 3 years is lying. Right? It's like you don't know.
Or just lost.
Just lost. You don't know. You can't say that for certainty. I know exactly what's going to happen over the next 3 years. Oh my God, I mean, you've got to be honest about that. So I think it's about calling it out and saying, these are interesting times. Can I learn from them? Don't waste a crisis. I love that.
Yes.
What am I learning from right now? It's one of the things I always ask, a daily kind of ritual I have is, what did I learn today? What am I grateful for today?
Yeah.
Get to put that in perspective. I've heard people, I have an interesting conversation the other day. I was talking with a healthcare worker, And
Yeah.
she's a leader of a healthcare team, like big team. And she's been, so busy through COVID, managing team and looking after her people and talking through PPE and trying to lead through masks and everything. And so many people I'm sure you speak to and I speak to go, oh my God, I'm so over Zoom. I'm like so zoomed out.
Zoomed out, yeah.
I'm zoomed out. I said to her, what do you think about Zoom? She goes, oh my God, I love it. She goes, my team loves Zoom. She goes, Zoom has been the best thing to come to healthcare ever. I'm going, tell me more.
I'm listening.
And here's what she said. She said, my team have been suffering from moral fatigue. I went, what is moral fatigue? And she said, moral fatigue is when you have healthcare workers, especially people who really care about other people, who are forced into their own homes and they cannot work. They're furloughed, or they've got COVID, or their relatives got COVID, so they cannot do their job. They cannot serve people. They cannot help people. They cannot live up to their personal values. They have moral fatigue and they can't connect. And she said, Zoom has allowed us to talk to our nursing staff who are at home but desperately want to be with their team and desperately want to help. They can get on Zoom. They can participate in nursing meetings. They can connect with the hospital. It's like them being there but not being there. She said it has saved the mental health of so many of my team members and made them part of the team. I thought, isn't it? So perspective, isn't it?
Yes.
Like we zoomed out and then someone else goes, oh my God, best invention.
Exactly. Can I have more? Can I have more? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I think that's the bit about your attitude to it, is your perspective. And you said it before, how can I get out of this? What's someone else going through and versus what I'm going through? Let's get some perspective on, put that out.
Yeah.
I also put it back. I think the other thing that when I read this, the one reason I liked it was attitude and mindset really determines, we talk, when I wrote my book, It's All Possible, it was really about that what I call possibility thinking. Are you a possibility seeker? Or you're just going on the facts and information? Because if you just go on past data of what's been achieved, you'll only add 10% to it, or you'll try and do a little breakthrough. But the true breakthroughs have always been by people who've gone, you know what? I don't care about the past. I believe I can do it. I think the quote I'd like to read out, if it's okay with you, is
please.
From Muhammad Ali, who I want to read the quote because I want to make sure I get it right, because it was a great quote and I love it. It's one of my favorite. Muhammad Ali said this. He said, impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. I don't think it gets any better than that.
That is powerful.
The great man said it, and you read it and you can read it again. And every time I come back to it, I go, God, it's just so good. It's so true, isn't it? That we have such power within us, but often we restrict it because we think, well, it hasn't been done like that. And no one's really done it. And my circle of colleagues say to me, it can't be done, or you can't do it. But possibility thinking means your attitude and mindset has got to think big.
Yeah. Not
small. If you're a small thinker, it doesn't really gain anybody anything. But if you're a big thinker, it doesn't mean you're going to succeed at it, but you'll go a lot further. You'll look at different things. And I don't know about you, Adam, whether you've done this or not, but I'll give you a quick example. Years ago, 10 years before it happened, my wife and I decided what sort of house we wanted to have.
Okay.
We wanted a house that was going to be, it was X amount of bedrooms, it was near the sea, it was 10 minutes from a yacht club I sailed at, it had this in it and that in it, and we put it away. And bizarre, when I was moving house 10 years later, I found the handwritten note. I couldn't believe it. And I said to my wife, Lisa, I said, you've got to read this. Do you remember when I wrote this? It was 10 years ago. And what we moved into was exactly what we wrote 10 years ago. And I'm not making it up to say literally it. And I remember unpacking, because you know what it's like packing. And so I found it in amongst the diary note, and I was like, oh my God. And I had not looked at it. That's the power of what I call vision, right?
Yes.
So after your attitude and mindset's right, I have this concept called vision, strategy, action. But if you get the vision to not only see where you want to go, but to feel what it's going to be like living it, that's the big one, because we're human. seeing is one thing, but we're kinesthetic as well. We feel what's going to be like to either live in that place, drive that person, be in that relationship, whatever it happens to be. If you can make it feel, the mind will take over. The subconscious will go nuts, and I think that's the big thing. The subconscious has no idea between real or imagined, right? It doesn't
just gets to work.
It gets to work. But if it doesn't have imagined, it will go back to real. It will base itself on habits, beliefs, opinions, and experiences in the past, right? But if you give it a strong vision that competes with that or takes over that, it will go, okay, so big house, 3 bedroom, whatever it is, buy C, meet this person, do that whole day. It just starts going into action.
Yeah.
And suddenly this is a strategy point, but you've got to be really ready because it will throw up ideas to you. But if you don't take them on board, then it can only do what it does. But it'll throw up things and you make a step forward. You take a bit of action. You do whatever's there. And that's the vision, strategy, action philosophy. But it cannot start without having the right attitude to life. It's impossible to do it without the right attitude. That's why I love this particular quote.
Well, thank you. It means a lot coming from you.
Thank you. Well, you put the quip down, the quip, it wouldn't come to me without the quip. So, you share in this beautiful moment.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that you're sharing this moment with me too. I really do appreciate it. So people could say, the reason why I'm going to ask this question is because recently I actually posted something on Facebook and I said, if people think that you can't do something, do it to prove to them or more to yourself that you can.
Yes.
Some people would say possibility thinking. I do that all the time, but it never works.
Yeah.
What would you say to such people?
You got to take action. Anybody from Muhammad Ali to Tony Robbins will tell you it's about the action you take, not the thinking. The thinking's interesting, right? I think Tony Robbins has a good quote on this where he talks about decision making. He said decision making is easy, and you do it like that. He said what takes time is leading up to the decision. He said the actual decision to go, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do this goal, I'm going to win this world championship, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. He's done it in an instant. But he said the thinking and the effort to get up to that takes the time.
Yeah.
But once you can get that, if you can compress time up to that, then you can make the change. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be successful the next thing you do, but you do make a change. And you go, I'm going to do it. The very most important thing you do is you've got to take action. As soon as you've made the decision to change, to do something different, you must take action immediately. In my book, I call it, what's your first possible step to your impossible? What's the first possible step to your impossible? That's the action. It might be, I'll read a book, I'll quit this job, I'll quit this relationship, I will buy something on this, I'll listen to a podcast, I'll subscribe to what Ada's doing. You'll do something. Yeah. Because that connects the thinking to the mind. If you just say it's all about possibility thinking, you're just a dreamer. I mean, good on you, but it's not going to get you anywhere. It's not. It's going to be great. But what's the point of a possibility thinking if you can't follow through? Now, you've got to start with the thinking because thoughts lead to emotions, which lead to behavior, which lead to actions, which give you results. So we know we've got to start there. There's no question about you've got to start with thinking, but you must take action.
Something.
Just do something because you're often starting. I did some work with Nike many years ago, a big global campaign for Nike Women. We're relaunching Nike Women in Australia as an advertising campaign. And we did heaps of research with women about what did Nike mean to them.
Yeah.
We thought we'd get big runners and all this. And you know what the overwhelming research from the women was, Ada? It was when I put on my Nikes, I already feel fit. Wow. When I'm strapping them on, I feel I've made the effort.
Wow.
So these concepts of aspirational women and athletic women, it wasn't about that. We moved right away from it. And we just came up with this amazing concept. Well, I didn't come up with the concept, the creative team did. Unbelievable. And it was Nike Women begin the journey. That was it. So it didn't matter if you put your Nikes on to walk down to the post office and post a letter rather than take your car. It didn't matter whether you were doing a 10K run or you were going to walk with your kids or you were now going to push the pram where you previously took the car.
Yes.
Nike begin the journey. And it just resonated. it resonated because it's about beginning the journey, not ending the journey, not reaching the goal. It's begin the journey.
Just start. Just start.
Just start. Yeah, just start. And start, you know, it's more successful. Also, it's been proven if you do it with somebody else, right? Or tell those people that I'm going to do it. And there's ones that go, you're never going to do it. Yeah, do it for yourself. But also do it to annoy them as well. It's more fun, right? Don't just do it for yourself. Do it to annoy them. Too. Oh, it works even better. Works even better, right? You come back and go, yeah, I did that. Oh my God, you did it, right? Do it, you know? So when you're in that bad moment there, when you're about to quit, just remember the people who said, this won't work.
That's true.
That gives you the motivation, you know, it gives you the extra motivation to go, you know what, I'm going to, because it does get tough.
It does.
This is why your purpose, what are you doing, is so strong, needs to be strong, because the unavoidable, the downsides, the issues will hit you every time.
That's true.
You can't see it coming either. You just got to have that grit and resilience to bounce back, which is why I love this quip so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for your time. And dare I say, we'll need to do this again.
We're booking these in, right? We're just going to have to keep booking these in. And it's such a great chat with you, and you're so inspiring. I mean, I love the quips that you come up with. Just, you know, just give that spark to make people think differently. So, you know, congratulations on putting all these together as well. I just think it's wonderful what you're doing and putting out in the world.
Thank you, Rob. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
I really, really enjoyed my conversation with Rob. Did you notice that I was mixed up on which book? Well, that happens to the best of us, doesn't it? But I could have talked with Rob for an hour on this. I didn't even know the thing about the tires for motorbikes or motorcycles. Well, he's into pro sports, so he knows things like that. Once again, you'll see information about Rob below this video. His book sounds interesting. Please be a possibility thinker. And remember, it's all up to your attitude. See you in the Quip Corner again. Bye now.